Welcome, everybody, to Stay Curious. I'm your host, Mark Marquette. We're broadcasting live this Monday, September 22nd, 2025. We are in the American Space Museum Stay Curious Studios, just 10 miles from the rockets launch pads of Cape Kennedy and Cape Canaveral. And of course, we're glad that you joined us today. Uh, Busy today. So if you think I'm tuning in late, I am. So thank you all for watching and taking Stay Curious up to this level. Today we're going to adopt a kind of a news format that I've been wanting to do and stick to, and we'll try to do that. And let's just first say that we're welcome to have GoHistoryTravel.org be a sponsor of Stay Curious. The Ramanujan family travel all over the world doing interesting takes on your historical figures of history, and from authors to physicists to astronauts. So check out Bharat and his travels with his mom and dad, Rama and Mal. The Ramanujan family are awesome financial supporters of our American Space Museum and our Stay Curious program here. And we wish get well to Cliff Watson. There's Cliffy. I've got my ARS hat here. ARS, I mean. Astronomical Australian Research and Space Exploration right there. Here's my ARS that you gave me, buddy. You also got Marty one. He's visited us twice during the solar eclipses, had some surgery, and we hope that you're feeling well. There, Cliff Watson in Pomona, Australia. And get well, my friend, and we're going to be thinking of you, and we're going to try to feature one of you super fans out there every day in some sort of photo there. So I'll probably harvest them off Facebook, or if I met you face to face, do it that way. And we've got a great lineup this week. We've got Wednesday will be UFO Day, okay? And we will, wait, Marty, we fighting each other there?
Yeah.
Go ahead, you take it away there. Hello to Marty Winkle, my co-producer for over 5.5 years. He's back in the saddle here. Ken Verderami, he's had clearance at Area 51. I've talked to him at length under the stars as part. He's been a member of the Brevard Astronomical Society for a couple decades. And he's going to break down the congressional hearings that we had at the beginning of the month of what it's all about. What are they trying to do? Are they really being transparent, or are they just giving us some more muckety muck? So the takeaways that Ken's going to talk about: the federal government has failed to provide adequate information to Americans on the existence and effectiveness of programs relating to the UAPs, unidentified aerial phenomenon. America wants Congress to conduct oversight programs on how much we're spending, and they want protection for whistleblowers who provide details on spending information and policies and procedures, classifying this anomaly that Ken will tell you it's real. We're not saying they're alien, but they're not Russian, Chinese, or any other country of this earth. And they're messing with our military. So Ken will be here Wednesday to break that all down. And today is the first day of autumn, the autumnal equinox, okay? And I passed a couple hours ago at 2:19, just about 2 hours ago. That is when the sun was standing directly over the equator. And equatorial countries have equal day and equal night today, depending how far away you are from the equator. That may vary today. I think sunrise, Marty, was about 7:10 today, and sunset around 7:20, something like that. But amateur astronomers love it because the nights are getting longer by 4 minutes every day for about the next month. And but you all that enjoy pickleball and gardening and just maybe bird watching or nice walks in the evening, it's going to get darker and darker and darker. So, autumnal equinox today, the first day of fall. And of course, for Cliff Watson and our good friends down under, this is the first day of spring. I got some emails over the weekend, Marty, about everybody asking me, actually, a couple texts of friends saying, "Where can I see Saturn?" Okay. I'm reading that Saturn is the brightest it's going to be this year. Where is it? Where can I see it? And when things like this are in social media, they make it sound like tonight that's the only day you're going to be able to see it. Some events in the sky are like that, like eclipses, and when the moon is close to a bright star planet, because the moon moves your fist every uh, um, 10 degrees every day to the left, okay? So it moves quite rapidly away from objects. So I tell these people, yes, it is the brightest, but Saturn will be visible all fall and even through the winter. But about 9 o'clock tonight, between 9 and 11, you'll notice in the east, that's where the sun rises, the sun setting's at your back, look to the east, you'll see a bright yellowish goldish star, and that is Saturn, and it's quite bright and beautiful. Now you need a telescope to see its rings. The rings are just have been edge on almost for a couple months, so the rings are not spectacular to see yet. You can tell they're there. So that the bright yellow star in the east is Saturn. It rises at when the sun sets. That's called opposition. So you got an hour for twilight. So it's going to be 8:30, 9 o'clock till you see it really good above the horizon. So it'll be a spectacular sight over the ocean, Marty. So, yep, check it out. And today the moon, to talk like an amateur astronomer. Oh, there we got some Saturn pictures. Forgot about that. There's what it looks like. There'll be another, there'll only be two bright stars in the east. And Saturn will be brighter than the one on the right called Fomalhaut. And Fomalhaut literally means mouth of the fish in Arabic. And that is part of Pisces. The Saturn is in the other part of Pisces up there. So easy to see looking east at about 9:30, 10 o'clock at night. And of course, there's Saturn's rings will look like this in a nice telescope, but you won't see them in binoculars. And that's the moon Titan. That is in transit, and its shadow is on the disk, as well as the backside of Titan itself there. So, but the rings are opening up year by year. You'll start seeing them splay out a little bit more, and that makes Saturn also brighter. Well, Marty, to talk like an amateur astronomer, the moon is 1 day old today, buddy. So where were you going to be looking for the moon if it's 1 day old? Where, oh, where is the moon?
Southwest? No, southeast.
Yes, it'll be southwest. It'll be trailing the sun as the sun sets. It was just new moon yesterday, so it was below the sun in the daytime sky. You couldn't see it. And now that it's moved away, it's starting to be illuminated on its right-hand side as we're looking at it. So, but we're not going to see it probably till Wednesday. That's when it's about 3 days old, and you might see it tomorrow. It'll be a spectacular thin crescent if you do in there. So the moon is returning to the night sky. That's what you need to know when it's in single-digit numbers, when you're talking like an amateur astronomer. We say that it's 0 days old at new, and it's a 29.5-day cycle. And at the 7 days, it's first quarter, 14 full moon, and 21 days last quarter. Now you're talking like an amateur astronomer. Well, we want to also show you from time to time on a more frequent basis some of the artifacts that come into the museum that we have on display. So Marty suggested that our first artifact we show you in a while is indeed this Marquette wine. Okay. And this is a Shelburne Vineyard, Vermont-grown, dry rosé wine that our executive director, Gabriel Rothblatt, brought me back from his summer vacation. So there it is. Ha, ha, ha. We'll uncork that with some friends one day. But we do have a really cool item of our museum to show you in just a few minutes here. But just before we went live, let me have some more of my arse coffee here. Matthew Raj came in with a box that we're going to unbox, and we're going to make some videos of unboxing things. Somebody brought in a box of the usual crate or cardboard box full of space memorabilia, and in it was this silver tray. Okay, and it even has the sterling silver is wiping off of this rag here, and it says on it, there you can see, Maryland and Winston, 9/22/73. Now, I happen to know that today is 9/22/2025. All right. All right. And there you see, it says Maryland and Winston. I see you, Marty. There you are, Marty. As in Marilyn and Winston Scott, the astronaut, who were married today, September 22nd. Okay, 1973. And I texted Winston and sent that to him to see if he said anything. Marty, get my phone over there and see if Winston, once you get me back there. How cool is that? The coincidence of that. Now, how'd they get their as a wedding gift? Let's see if he responded to me. I sent the text to him just about a half hour ago. But anyway, we have artifacts like this that are coming in, and I understand that people are enjoying watching people unbox things. So we're going to start unboxing things on YouTube just to have some fun. Let me look at my phone here and see if one of the best astronauts. Here's Winston says, "Are you serious? Where did that come from? Is this a great Marquette idea? 9/22 is our wedding anniversary. We'd love to have it. Winston, okay, you'll get it, buddy." Right there's Winston's reply. All right, it's sometimes good to be me, and actually having dinner with astronaut Mike Baker today, Marty and I are. So I'll make sure that he gets that, Winston. We're talking about you here on our show. So just never know. Every day is just so much fun here at the American Space Museum. We all love what we do, and we're passionate about it. Come see us and check us out. And we're going to bring more of our museum to you on this show, I promise. Okay. All right. Well, let's see. The main topic I'm going to get into today is a look at a little-known NASA committee called ASAP. What's ASAP stand for? Okay. Any of you know out there? Let's see who joined us today. I hadn't even looked over there yet. Well, ASAP is an important committee, a subcommittee of Congress, and they have shot the first. They fired the first shot across the bow of the absurdity of Artemis III and how it'll never happen. All right, so stay tuned for that. There's Carlton Bailey, Elena, Tommy Usiak, Dave Stange, R.G. Jubilee. All right, all joining us today, kicking the week off. Doug Forrest, Steve Jokums. Yes, I'll bet he knows what ASAP means. Have a stab at it, Steve, without Googling it. Yes, they are taking, well, they're trashing Artemis III, and I'll tell you about that from their own words here in just a minute. And yes, they moved the we've got some updates of the launch. Thank you. There on that, Carlton. Let me make a note of that because I'm going to get to that. Oh, where's a notebook here? We'll put. Carlton says that the IMAP is scheduled for Wednesday. It was going tomorrow morning, and that Atlas Kuiper is Thursday at 8:09. All right. I think they had two launches scheduled for Wednesday morning. So, and Tommy Usiak's going to be here Friday and talk to us about their major donation, he and his brother, of a remote Hasselblad camera system that we're getting together for you guys. So, all right, NASA. Let's see what was going on with NASA today. All right. What is some NASA news that I wanted to share is NASA has announced a new astronaut class, okay? And here they are. Dun, 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 dun. Yeah, go with that other. Yeah, let me cover up my face here. This class, well, let me take the picture. Hot off the press, 10 astronauts, okay? 6 women, 4 men. Let me put my flag back in there. There we go. Is that showing them there? That's the official publicity photo. So we're sharing it with the world as these people are obviously over the moon. One of 8, there are 10 of 8,000 people who applied. NASA acting administrator Sean Duffy welcomed them, saying they embody the truth that in America, regardless of where you start, there's no limit to what a determined dreamer can achieve, even going to space. Today will unlock the golden age of exploration. NASA's 24th class. Okay, I think this 10 would make about 50 active astronauts, all right? Someone could correct me on that. Let's give their names there, since this is the biggest day of their life. Ben Bailey's 38 from Charlottesville, Virginia. Lauren Edgars, 40. She considers Samish, Washington, her hometown. Adam Furman, 35, Leesburg, Virginia, F-16 pilot. Edgars, she was 17 years supporting Mars rover exploration at the U.S. Geological Survey. Cameron Jones is a native of Savannah, Illinois. Yuri Kubo, 40, is a native of Columbus, Indiana. Kubo was a co-op student at NASA supporting the ISS. Rebecca Lawler, 38, native of Little Elm, Texas. All right, she P3 pilot. Anna Menon, 39, Houston. Now, I recognize that name. And yes, Anna Menon was a Polaris Dawn astronaut. She and did the first commercial spacewalk. So she is an engineer at SpaceX and is now a NASA astronaut. I wonder if that's the first time that NASA's chosen as an astronaut somebody's orbited the moon, Marty. Orbited the Earth. Think about that. I'm sure it is. Hey, I guess you'd be qualified a little bit. You already orbited the Earth and Polaris Dawn. Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, right. You did a spacewalk, a stand-up EVA. That is Anna Menon. All right. She's on our wall of women, Marty. Imelda Mueller, 34, considers Copake Falls, New York, her hometown. And Erin Overcash, 34. She's from Goshen, Kentucky. Catherine Spies, 43, a native of San Diego. All right, so there's our 10 new NASA astronauts. Is one of them going to command the first landing on Mars? Could be. So, breaking news just a couple hours ago, if that. So thank you all for watching. And speaking of the moon, NASA will hold events on Tuesday the 24th of September and Tuesday the 23rd and Wednesday the 24th to discuss the Artemis II mission, which will launch 4 astronauts early 2026. They're saying no later than April 2026. A lot of everything's hinting that it's going to be in February, late February launch. And this, of course, is 4 astronauts to go and not orbit, but just go within about 5,000 miles of the moon to test out the Orion systems. Nothing to do with the landing systems, and that's something we're going to talk about here in a minute. So, all right, that's our NASA news for the day, and a happy birthday to this astronaut, Bobby Satcher. Happy 60th birthday to Bobby Satcher. There he is with Bert Dicht, our friend at the Bert's our friend at the National Space Society. Bobby Satcher, born in Hampton, Virginia. Okay, he is the first orthopedic surgeon in space during STS-129. He did 2 spacewalks on that mission. and after retiring at the end of the shuttle program, he joined the orthopedic oncology department at the University of Texas. So there's Bobby in space there, and he well, 2 spacewalks for 12 hours. That's a good time. You know, if you can't be a pilot and fly the shuttle, a lot of people their next go-to is I want a spacewalk. So, and he did, and there's Bobby Satcher on one of his 2 spacewalks on STS-129, which was in November 2009. All right, and until Victor Glover went to space that's 2009 till 2022 or 3, I think. Satcher was the last African American to go to space for a good 10 years. So happy birthday to him. And on this date in space history, yep, Skylab was orbiting the Earth. Which Skylab? Well, I'm going to say the second crewed mission, and then it's clear what it is. As you all know, the Skylab mission is 1. The first crewed mission can be 2, the second 3, and the last 4, according to engineers. But what's confusing is the media calls the first crewed mission 1 and 2 and 3 for the other 2. So Wizard of Id, one of the characters by Gary Hart that was adopted for the Skylab mission fun patch there. So we had Skylab 2, the second crewed mission there, with Owen Ginger, Going Garriott, Commander Al Bean, and of course our good friend Jack Lausma. Jack might be coming to Shuttlefest. We'll let you know. We're trying to get that in place. We'll know more about it here in a couple weeks. But this was going on in space history today on September 22nd, 1973, was a spacewalk was being conducted by Bean and Garrett. And the whole necessity for the spacewalk was to retrieve this film. This is 35 millimeter film, of course. Happens to be a green roll of Fuji. Superior. Hey, it's Superior, Tommy. That was some good stuff back in the day. 400 ISO, fast with not much grain. And so this is what they were retrieving, risking their lives to get the data that was put on celluloid film there, okay? And that was the last spacewalk of 3 that took place on Skylab, the second crewed mission on this date in space history. And our memorabilia to show off today is a crew patch that has the signature of all 3 astronauts on there. But this crew patch is on a beta cloth. And this is the type of patch that would have been sewn on the spacesuits. Beta cloth being resistance to fire, of course. So, and the patch beside it of the Vitruvian man, of the famous Vitruvian man of Leonardo da Vinci, because the science and everything, they decided to use that iconic sketch of the great Leonardo from the 1400s. The Skylab mission was the women of Skylab, and there are the wives of Sue Bean, Helen Mary Garriott, and Gracia Lausma there. And so that was a fun thing that they got to do. And though I don't think that's in beta cloth, that patch of the women, Vitruvian women. So we'll proudly show this in our case of some of our great Skylab stuff we have. Okay, breaking news. Thought we'd give you some local news here. Aerodyne Industries in Cape Canaveral has gotten a $1.8 billion with a B dollar contract, okay, as part of the NASA's contract for organizing spaceflight mission operations and systems called Cosmos, all right. The Cosmos contract, like I said, valued at almost $2 billion, is part of this great company spearheaded by astronaut Andy Allen, shown there on the right. Andy, a friend of our museum and supporter, his Aerodyne company has financially supported us. Andy says this milestone reflects the dedication and expertise of our entire team. That team is called Ascend, which is part of the Aerodyne Industries umbrella. Andy is CEO of Aerodyne that was founded by his father in the 60s. We are honored to continue supporting NASA's mission in advancing human space exploration for the future. Aerodyne said the multi-year contract strengthens their role as a trusted NASA partner, leveraging decades of operational excellence while creating opportunities for innovation and growth. All right. Those are the buzzwords on the coast here, innovation and growth. So in the news, astronaut Andy Allen and he's CEO of Aerodyne Industries, and they have got they got $1.8 billion as part of the contract to keep our manned spacecraft, human spaceflight program going. Okay, so, all right, what I wanted to talk today about was, have you got your ticket punched for Artemis II? Okay, good. That's good. Glad you are. I got mine punched too. And we'll all go to the moon together, but we're not really going, are we? We're going to go behind the moon, wave from about 5,000 miles. Hey, I'm waving at Paris right now, Marty. That's 5,000 miles away. Being a little facetious here, but this is a very complex mission in its own right, yet it is not doing the main thing that Artemis III has to do, and that's go in polar orbit, all right, and then also for the Orion spacecraft go in polar orbit, and then a different Starship land on the moon and come back safely with some astronauts. Well, there's the profile of Artemis III. And I read this over and over and over today, and it doesn't even mention the launch of the Starship. It just says that the Starship lunar lander orbiting the moon, and that's on the right-hand side. And then it just all of a sudden lands on the moon, and then of course it has to take off from the moon and get off there. But what is kind of scary is the Orion emergency spacecraft over here is going to be in a 6.5 day lunar orbit. All right. And it will go drop down to about 60 miles and then go out to something like 10,000 miles. And so if something happened on the lunar surface, the rescue ship might be in place, or it might be 6.5 days away. Just one of the many anomalies. Well, the Aerospace Safety Advisory Panel, ASAP, this last week at a public meeting on September 19th, so I'm quoting their words here, NASA safety advisors say they doubt the lunar lander version of SpaceX Starship will be ready to support the Artemis III mission as planned for 2027. Okay. At a September 19th public hearing, members of the Aerospace Safety Advisory Panel said they believe the Human Landing System, or HLS, the version of Starship, could be, quote, years late. That conclusion, panelist Paul Hill said, followed a visit last month to SpaceX's Starbase facility and meetings with company representatives. Okay. Fellow panelists went, including astronauts Charlie Precourt and Kent Rominger. There is the Starship on the moon, okay, 200 feet tall, less than 40 feet wide. Okay, that doesn't even look like it makes sense to have something taller than wider land on the moon like that. Wait a minute. Intuitive Machines, you're 0 for 2, by the way. You're a little rectangular taller than your wider lander. But here are the people on this panel. What is this panel, you say? What in the world is this panel? You ever hear of it? I didn't really hear of it. The ASAP, I asked some NASA friends, what is ASAP? And well, the Aerospace Safety Advisory Panel is a senior advisory committee that reports to NASA and Congress. The panel was established by Congress after the Apollo 1 fire in January 1967. In the panel's statutory duties, as described in Section 6 of NASA Authorization Act of 1968, which is Public Law 90-676, 42 U.S.C. 2477, are as follows. Quote, the panel shall review safety studies and operations plans that are referred to it and shall make reports thereof thereupon shall make reports thereupon shall advise the administrator with respect to the hazards of proposed operations and with respect to the adequacy of proposed or existing safety standards, and shall perform such other duties as the minister may request. Unquote. So it's all about safety and hazards of the human beings that are going to get on spaceships. The act is an effective piece of legislation for two important reasons. One, for the first time in NASA history, an independent safety review body provides timely and continuous oversight of its aerospace programs. Two, NASA is required to keep the House Committee on Science and Senate Committee on Commerce, Science, and Transportation fully informed of its activities. So this is designed to be, I'm told, sort of a fox in the hen house, all right, to make sure everything is not in chaos, but not a bunch of hens in the hen house that are agreeing on everything. And it's supposed to be a group of outsiders, okay, and it's supposed to be independent. But so many of these people have been on it for a long time. I looked up a few of their bios. You can check it out yourself and be well informed. The lady who's the director there, she has got 10 years in safety with shuttle and ISS and other programs, all very qualified on paper that they have done their careers there. You've got astronaut Charlie Precourt off my shoulder here. There is Ken Rominger, and the other astronaut on the panel is who's the other? There's a third astronaut. Who's on there, Marty? Did I cut them off? I didn't print that out. Okay. The Starbase Kent Rominger. There's another third astronaut on there. What? You don't see another astronaut name there? Who?
Can't read the names.
Oh, I got Precourt, Rominger. Oh, I see her at the top up there, of course. She's a general there. Anyway, upper left-hand corner. Her name will come to me in a minute. Someone will tell me who am I looking at there. Susan Helms, thank you very much there, Carlton Bailey. All right. So here's what they're saying. One of the vocal panelists is Paul Hill there. Paul's in the upper right-hand corner. The HLS schedule is significantly challenged and in our estimation could be years late for a 2027 Artemis III moon landing, Hill said. A major issue, he said, is demonstrating cryogenic propellant transfer needed to refuel Starship in low Earth orbit before heading to the moon. That work has been slowed by delays in the version 3 of Starship, the first capable of such transfers, and by ongoing improvements to the version 3 Raptor engine. In other words, the major issue is like an 0 for 4 or 1 for 5, because the last Starship was a good success. But yes, this Starship, once it gets into Earth orbit, doesn't have any more fuel. or very little. It doesn't have enough to go to the moon and land on the moon. So it's got to be refueled in Earth orbit or on the way to the moon somehow at a depot. And how do we do that? Well, on paper, they think they know how to do it, but it's never, ever, ever been done yet. We have done like a teaspoon, not even a cupful of propellant transferred from one to the other. However, China appears to last month have refueled a space satellite in geosynchronous orbit. Maybe we'll talk about that when I can find out more details. Hill did not detail the problems or their impact, but SpaceX President Gwen Shotwell, speaking September 16th at World Space Business Week in Europe, said propellant transfer worried her more than docking starships in orbit. Hopefully, it is not as hard as some of my engineers think it could be, she said. All right, this is the president of SpaceX throwing some doubt into that this can be figured out in the next couple years. Despite concerns about scheduled delays, panel members praised SpaceX's accomplishments. They cited Falcon 9's rapid launch tempo, driven largely by Starlink, as creating, quote, unprecedented experience in spacecraft and booster manufacturing, launch preparation, and flight operations. The panel has previously warned of safety risks for programs with low flight rates, such as Space Launch System and Orion. So they are, again, when you don't fly a lot, then you don't learn a lot and you don't get confidence in the hardware. How about 10 crewed missions of Gemini in 2 years, 1965 and 66, to flight test the hardware, the techniques, and the gumption of those astronauts that eventually went to the moon. So does not look good, according to this advisory council, the Aerospace Safety Advisory Council, ASAP. And now you know something that I didn't know a little bit ago of what this panel was and their influence now, because they're hopefully they keep an outsider attitude, and but it's they're painting a cautious tale on the Starship as it is right now, working as quickly as Artemis III in 2027. So, all right. Thought we'd also like to look at the beginning of the week at all the launches that are going to happen here on our Space Coast. Let me go backwards there. Blow that up. There. Thank you, Marty. We have got a launch of IMAP is pushed back to Wednesday at 7:30. It was going to go at 7:32 a.m. Tuesday morning. This is a it's called Interstellar Mapping and Acceleration Probe, which will use 10 science instruments to study the boundary of the sun's heliosphere. Okay. And so it's an astronomy mission, basically, that we hope to get launched. And Carlton Bailey's all over that. I think he was in the White Room and photographed that, and we didn't get that on because of our kitchen fire that we've started the renovation. Thank you all for your support. Starlink launch at Vandenberg on Wednesday, and they're moving. Then we've got the Atlas launch on the 25th. Okay. Thursday. Starlink's supposed to launch at 4:36 a.m. and then an 8:09 Atlas launch, okay, of the Project Kuiper Amazon's broadband internet satellites. So we're looking at two different pads and 3.5 hours apart on Thursday morning, 4:36 a.m. and 8:09 a.m. The 8:09 will be about an hour after sunrise. So, and 4:36, I don't think I'll be seeing that one. All right, on there. So we've got 3 launches scheduled for this week on the coast here, and one out at Vandenberg. There was a Starlink launched about 2 o'clock today out of Vandenberg. So And just to show you in the sky is some beautiful stars that it's just not the galaxies and nebula that we look for. This is called Albireo, and it's a double star system 400 light years from the Earth. So the light we're looking at here was in 1620, something like that, right? And that was when Galileo had just popularized the telescope by turning the spyglass on a instead of looking at ships at sea, they looked at the sky and he saw things. And he would have seen maybe that Albireo is a double star. It is at the beak of the Swan, the constellation Cygnus' Swan, which is right there, the X in the middle of this star map for June. And that is the Milky Way at about 10 o'clock at night, spanning directly overhead. All right. Yes, the Milky Way is not so much a summertime object as it is a fall object, as here in September and October, it is just spectacular on these clear nights. So this is a map that you can download, starmaps.com. Go outside and get you a little starlight, because the moonlight is going to be coming later on this week and through next week. So now's the time to go out and see the Milky Way and some of the faint fuzzies through your telescope out there. So, well, hope that you all enjoyed today's episode. Thank you, Go History Travel, for sponsoring Stay Curious and some of the events here at our museum. We are very appreciate the Ramanujan family. So tomorrow we'll do some shuttles of the month of September. We'll look at some more space history, and maybe I'll check on a guest or two that I could get into last minute tomorrow. Maybe Carlton, hint, hint, hint. If Carlton Bailey can come in tomorrow, we'll certainly show his pictures of the IMAP in the White Room. And Wednesday, Ken Verderami will be here to scare you about UFOs and aliens out there wrecking havoc. And Friday, Tommy Usiak sits in the chair beside me to talk about some of the things that he and his brother have done over the years, photographing shuttle launches and the equipment that he is bequeathing the museum to use as an awesome display. So until tomorrow, I'm thanking Marty Winkle for a great job today, and I will see you soon to bridge the space between us. Thanks for watching.